When does a scientist become an advocate? I want to tell you a story of how a simple scientist metamorphs into an advocate. This is based on a true story. The story begins a few years ago, about 15 miles outside of Milwaukee. It was an untouched piece of land that had grown into a prairie, and in that prairie were many flowers, some of which were important to the monarch butterfly as it made its migration from Wisconsin all the way down to Mexico. A scientist who studied the butterfly knew how important this land was, and found out that the city was planning to parcel off the land to create a big building complex that would have wiped out the prairie and obviously hurt the path of the monarch butterfly. After hearing about these plans, the scientist complained about it at dinner time to their family. Their family agreed. Is the scientist an advocate yet? Emboldened by the family conversation, the scientist went to social media. The scientist belonged to a Facebook group that had people from all over the world who loved butterflies, and when the scientist posted this conundrum, they got lots of likes and comments, and the scientist felt like an advocate. But was the scientist an advocate? A week later or so, while having coffee at the local coffee shop, the scientist mentioned it to the person sitting next to them, and it turned out that there were a lot of neighbors that really loved nature and were also concerned about the business complex going in. The scientists gathered the emails of a few of these neighbors. The neighbors emailed back and forth and decided to organize a meeting. Is a scientist an advocate yet? Meanwhile, down in City Hall, the building parcel plans continued. Once that building gets built, the prairie is gone forever. Seeing the parcels going up for sale, the scientists knew they were running out of time and so met with a city council member who was in charge of approving the building plans and encouraged their neighbors to do the same. And guess what? The elected official had no idea about the butterfly or how much the neighbors cared about nature. Through their advocacy, the building plans changed and buildings still went up, but a huge portion of the land was dedicated to be a prairie park that held all of the flowers that were needed for the migration path of the monarch butterfly. All right, at what point did the scientists become an advocate? Some people say that posting on social media was the first step scientists took towards advocacy, but what if they had stopped there? They were talking to people that agreed with them already, and while they were talking and talking, the parcels would have been sold and the buildings would have gotten built. Because once that building is there, the prairie is gone forever, and the thing you care about is gone forever. Now, instead of a building, imagine it's a policy. Once a policy goes up, it's also there for decades and decades. We have to protect the things that are important to us. So what was the thing that the scientists did that directly impacted whether or not the building got built? I think it was when they spoke to their elected official and organizing neighbors to do the same. What do you think? Great job, everybody.